Welcome to the Gavel. Thanks for joining us. I am Terry Ikumi. Plenary is still on hold in both chambers of the National Assembly to allow for budget defense sessions. The National Assembly is still intent on passing the 2021 appropriation bill before the year ends to sustain the January to December budget cycle. Well, this week on the Gavel, we'll look at the budget defense sessions which have commenced at the National Assembly. Lawmakers now have about 4 weeks to conclude the process, and so far, MDAs have been coming forward to defend their budgets. The annual ritual where heads of government agencies flood the National Assembly to defend their budget has begun. It's been a slow start to the budget defense process because of the unrest in several cities following the NSAS protests, which was hijacked by hoodlums. The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs on Tuesday was before the Oversighting Committee to defend his ministry's budget. The Niger Delta Ministry has a total budget size of 26.5 billion naira for 2021, comprising 1.44 billion naira for personnel, 877 for overhead, and 24 billion naira for capital projects. But this budgetary allocation, according to the minister, is inadequate to implement the Commission's capital projects for 2021.
The 2021 budgetary proposal and the total sum of 26.5 billion for us, the ministry is considered very big because we had about 345 ongoing projects, but we had to drop most of the ongoing projects, particularly those that had not gone above 20%.
The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs oversees the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC), which has been under intense scrutiny following allegations of gross financial mismanagement and misappropriation of funds.
The budget performance.
Chairman of the Senate Committee calls for a closed-door session to continue with the budget defense exercise.
Thank you people for what you have done. Thank you for coming. Thank all the gentlemen of the press. And thank some of the directors who are here, and thank you for coming to listen to the budget presentation, and you may wish to excuse us.
Meanwhile, at another defense session, the Senate Committee on Interior received the 2021 budgets of the Federal Fire Service and the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC). But the committee declined to question the heads of these agencies on their budgets.
In the light of this submission, I hereby rule that the budgets for these two organizations are hereby received for proper attention.
Also, the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning appeared before the House Committee on Civil Societies and Development Partners. The focus was on international funding for various projects in the country. One of the lawmakers was worried about what he described as lack of impact on the people.
For me, I was being taken aback. But when I saw the submission that this project can actually be converted to funds, and I've discovered that over the last 6 years, donor agencies across the globe have been able to donate to this country in terms of projects over 10 trillion naira. So that is huge amount of money. And for us, in the National Assembly and other Nigerians, because I know a lot of questions that we receive in this regard, that they hate so much about donor agencies' activities in the country, but they can't really see, the impacts. The projects are not visible. So for me, I don't know why this kind of huge project should be shielded. It's something Nigerians are supposed to know, so that we can tap from it. Our constituents can benefit from it. I would like to know the criteria that you use, even though you mentioned that this thing goes to local government, they go to states, but these projects are under your supervision as a ministry. So I would like to know the criteria, when this thing gets there, how these projects are being deployed to those places. We can't just allow them, to go to those places, and the way they utilize them, then we are not aware of it. The second one is about monitoring and implementation. What we call project here is money. So we cannot allow these people that have good intention for our country, Nigeria, to invest so much in the project, then the execution is not something that we should be aware of.
Some of the support that we're getting from our donors, is it a loan or gift? So that we know. We want to know. Some of us will want to know. That's one. Secondly, is there a way that you can harmonize all this support that we have been getting so that the Nigerians out there, the youth out there, they will know that this we are benefiting? For example, sir, you are saying a word that I will want to take you up on it. You said the acclaimed project. I think if you're saying the acclaimed project, that means you are not even sure. I'm not an English person. I didn't study English, but from that word, the acclaimed, it means it is based on the reports. You know, what is your office doing, sir? That such amount, 10 trillion is a big money, huge money. Nigerians out there will want to know what and what. And is the project, just like you have said, that they are not giving you money, but the project, is it not lump-sided to a particular geopolitical zone? Is it going around? When they come with the money, another thing Nigerians are asking from us, when they come that they want to do this and this and this, are they the one that they will pick the area of their interest, or we have to tell them that in my area, for example, if you come now, you just come and you start installing electricity, sir. And the problem of flood we are facing currently, is there harmonization between the community and the donor?
Most of your emphasis are on international donor organizations. I know we have local donor organizations like the Tony Olumelu Foundation, the Dangote Foundation, whom have been doing a lot in collaboration sometimes with international donor organizations, that is private international, like the Bill and Melinda Gates. They have been doing a lot, particularly in my state. I know a lot has been going on in Kaduna State. They've been doing so much. What have you done as a ministry to see that you monitor the activities of this international organization vis-a-vis using our own local donors? Because sometimes you find out that there's funding that comes in and they've been diverted to other activities. Like sometimes you see that they fund negative activities in various communities and the rest. So what have you done as a ministry to monitor these activities for both the local and international donor organization?
I don't receive funds, and I have said so, the ministry doesn't get funds. Nigeria does not qualify to receive funds because Nigeria is not classified as a very poor country. Okay, therefore, they do not give us funds. What they do is provide projects. And I'm not the one who determines the project that they provide. Different NGOs have different costs for which they want to help humanity. So they determine that. But in doing so for Nigeria, they have to work with either states, local governments, or MDAs. So if they were to come to your state, they will be meeting with the governor, and the governor will be the one determining which area he wants intervention. Ours is just to capture through the data, based on the information that they have uploaded, to say this is the area that NGO A, B, or C has claimed to have intervened in the country. Yes, once in a while we do visitation, but I can tell you that for me as a minister, I've had three main focus since I came into the ministry. One for me has been the issue of planning, and I'm sure you are aware we are currently working on the successor plan to ARGP and the Nigerian Vision 2020. The second is the area of budget, to ensure that we submit our proposals early enough to give the National Assembly enough time to handle it. And the third for me is how to institutionalize the issue of national M&E.
In the first place, our question is, how do they even receive their funds? Because they can't just come and implement one, two. There is manpower. There are local recruitments. How do they get those funds? How do you even transmit those funds to the country? We want to come with $1 million. How does that $1 million get into the country, and how do they appropriate that $1 million? Because they have to go through the Public Procurement Act.
in the area of their interest where they want to intervene. When I say area of interest, that is like in the sector. If it's education, they have to meet with the Minister of Education. It is based on education's needs that they will intervene. If it's sanitation and water resource, it's the ministry that determines. Not that the NGO comes and says, this is what I must do. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying that there are NGOs that are set up for humanitarian services. Some just believe in women and children affairs. So they will have to deal with the MDAs that are responsible for those to determine their areas of needs.
Meanwhile, the House Committee on Healthcare Services also met with the Regional Center for Oral Health Research and Training Initiatives for Africa. While expressing displeasure with the federal government for underfunding the agency, members of the committee raised questions on the provisions of the budget presented by the agency.
Construction provision of road network within the around the center. What type of road can you execute with 2 million naira?
If you're only making 10 million naira for the country, and here you are presenting additional 405 million in expenditure, as a CEO, I have a problem with that. Should we be looking at this as, okay, here we are coming to get a piece of our pie, as opposed to, okay, let me justify my expenditure based on my revenue?
The center is not meant to generate, by its law establishing, to generate revenue. It was an idea of the GG before me to have a dental clinic whereby when the patient comes for biopsy, we do extraction fillings, we do manual oral surgeries, and we do facial reconstruction. It was not part of the mandate at all. So we only have 2 dental chairs functioning at the annex. The annex office is actually very small. So we're expanding it to go to the permanent site to have at least 10 dental chairs.
What I have the intention of saying here is that I won't say it again. I will leave it. But since candidly speaking, I said candidly speaking, if we cannot, put what we need to put into that agency to make it what it's supposed to be, let another country take it off from us. That's the sincere thing about it. No, I'm not asking for your opinion. That is my own opinion. Okay? It hurts me to say this. But if we are not ready to do what we all vied, a lot of countries vied to have this all-important agency in their country. And since they've given us, have we shown enough commitment to say that we really want it? That's what I'm saying. It has to be, we have to understand that there are commitments international agreed to. And we are, as a country, if we are going to be taken serious by these international agencies and donors and partners, we need to really go along with all the agreements we have signed.
The House of Representatives is also asking Nigerians to be wary of the kind of drugs they purchase following the looting of a warehouse belonging to the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control in Kaduna State, where seized fake and expired drugs were said to have been stored and awaiting destruction. The budget defense sessions are expected to continue for the next 4 weeks, as the National Assembly is in a race to pass the 2021 budget by December. Welcome back to the Gavel. Still on the budget defense sessions, the Minister of Power, Maman Saleh, says the Presidential Power Initiative will improve electricity distribution in the country. And according to him, the initiative will also improve the country's power generation by 11,000 megawatts. He stated this at the ministry's budget defense before the House of Representatives Committee on Power. And at that session, the lawmakers observed that there was no budgetary provision for the Mambila Power Project, only to be informed by the Minister of Power that the proposed 100 billion naira was removed by the Minister of Finance. Budget defense sessions continue in the National Assembly. The House of Representatives Committee on Power met with the Minister of Power on Tuesday, who was there to defend his ministry's budget. He began by giving the performance of the 2020 budget. The lawmakers show outright dissatisfaction with his presentation.
The format, the way they presented the 2020 capital performance is not acceptable to us because there is no column for contract sum and there is no column for who are the contractors. So we hereby reject it. It's not accepted. It has to be redesigned so that at least it will make meaning. This is not the way it should be. I'm sure your director of procurement is one of the oldest procurement managers in this country. He should have known better on how to give you this format to present. So I would like to ask him to stay behind with the director of finance so that at least they'll give us a proper format so that we can approve it.
Both parties delve into the 2021 budget of the ministry.
National Rural Electrification Agencies, 1.04 billion. That is the personnel. The overheads is 92.027 million. Capital, 17.864 billion.
The minister responds to questions on why no provision was made for the Mambila Power Project.
We have proposed 100 billion naira for Mambila, and we have sent it to the Ministry of Finance. What happened, we don't know. And then when the budget came back, there was no takeover for Mambila.
He informs the committee of the Presidential Power Initiative, which will improve electricity generation and distribution.
The project is about to commence. Then we will now improve from the usual generation, upgrading to 7,000 megawatt in the first phase. And we are going to move in the second phase to 11,000 megawatts, where we are going to improve both the transmission and the distribution.
The lawmakers also questioned the activities of the distribution companies and wants the minister to take decisive actions against them.
We own 40% of Abuja Disco. 5 years down the line, what is the dividends in terms of Naira and Kobo that accrued to government? And 5 years down the line, are the hydropower plant paying their concessions? And how much is it? 5 years down the line, what is the remittance we receive from the thermals generating plant that are also privatized?
Up till as late as about 2 weeks ago, I still bought poles for people in my constituency. The reality is that most of the discos are irresponsible. It is nothing but exploitation because people, they need power. Transformers will break down, or the transformers, when they even call on the discos, to complain about it. The disco officials will even carry away the transformers and they are never returned. And then they are forced. When they are forced, the communities are forced, they have no choice but to buy.
Members of the committee also raised personal worries.
Just during this End SARS protest, they almost burned down my house. And what is my offense? The transformer in the town broke down. And so I must buy a transformer for them. Yesterday, I have to borrow 5 million naira to buy a brand new transformer. When they started protesting again.
Power supply twice in a month. And next month again, twice in a month. That's not power supply. That's what exists in Jibia. I'm from Jibia. Our people have the capacity to pay for the electricity they consume. We have written to KEDCO. My people write a petition. I will call the MD. I know Gomna. I know him personally. I know the Indians, that is the chief operating officer that is there. Nothing. We'll buy the transformer, we'll correct the conductors, we'll correct the lines, we'll buy poles. Yet, they are not there to give the light to the people, the power to the people.
There are some general managers from different locations that are caught with this collecting money from people to buy a transformer, and I ordered the disco to sack them, and they are doing it.
In solving the electricity infrastructure problems of the country, the lawmakers want the federal government to ensure that the distribution companies make adequate investment. Meanwhile, members of the Senate Committee on Power are expressing dismay over the zero allocation to the Mambila Power Project in the 2021 budget. The committee members voiced their displeasure to the Minister of Power, Maman Saleh, during his ministry's budget defense session at the Senate. The Mambila Hydropower Project is expected to improve power generation in Nigeria with its hydroelectric facility on the Dingo River in Kakara village in Taraba State. A member of the committee, Senator Shuaibu Lau, says there is nothing on ground in Mambila to show that the federal government is serious about the project.
When will this project take off? This is very important, knowing that this project has a court issue and a settlement that is supposed to take place. That has not taken place. We want to know the position of that. And for this project to take off, there is no road to Mambila. Completely no road. You cannot take any equipment to Mambila at the moment. So how will this project take off? Even to transport your personnel, the personnel to Mambila, there is no road there. This project will not see the light of the day. That is the truth about it. When we don't have a road to go to Mambila, how do you start a project? How? No road. There is no road leading to Mambila. And you have a court case that has not been settled. And the Chinese company cannot come with a court case pending. What is the position of the court case? How do you resolve this issue, Honorable Minister?
Meanwhile, at another budget defense session, the House Committee on Information met with the Minister of Information. The lawmakers questioned the position of the government in attempting to gag the media, as the Minister of Information reiterated government's resolve to regulate the social media.
We need a social media, policy. That what can be seen, what cannot be seen. The last NSAS war was fought on social media. They mobilized and disseminated news using their phones. Mr. Chairman, sir, the world today revolves around two things: smartphone and data. Smartphone, and the young ones we are talking to don't even watch television, don't listen to radio, they don't read newspapers. And you'll be shocked that if you start arguing with your own daughter or your own son, she will be quoting as a Bible the social media.
Expectedly, reactions have trailed the statement by the Minister of Information and the fines imposed on 3 TV stations, including Channels Television. One of them is from the Senate Minority Leader, Senator Einaya Abaribe, who's warning against clamping down on free speech, citing Section 39 of the Constitution, which makes it clear that every person shall be entitled to freedom of expression, and subsection 2 of that section, which also states that without prejudice to the generality of subsection 1, every person shall be entitled to own, establish, and operate any medium for the dissemination of information, ideas, and opinions. Well, that's the Gavel this week. Thanks for watching. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.